Tuesday continues here on One News Now. I'm Riza Diaz. The Metro Manila Film Festival, or MMFF, officially made its return to the big screen. To give us an update, Camille Samonte is joining us live from Mandaluyong City. Camille, good evening. Can you tell us how the situation is at movie theaters?
Riza, it has been a slow day for the first weekend screening of the MMFF. These as this festival returns to cinema nearly 2 years since the pandemic began. At a mall in Makati City, the usual long queues at ticketing booths are now gone. A complete different scenario before the pandemic, where millions of tickets were being sold. Some moviegoers complained of limited film selection suitable for families. They are also disappointed that unvaccinated minors and other family members are not allowed to watch. Others, meanwhile, are still cautious with the threat of COVID-19. Over at a mall in Mandaluyong City, the management is hopeful that ticket sales will increase. They sold over 1,000 tickets on the first day of the MMFF. Pre-pandemic, the mall allots 12 screenings per movie house for the festival. But now they had to cut it down to just 8. Still, some of the moviegoers expressed their excitement to physically return to cinemas. Let's hear what they had to say.
Maging parang platform or kahit makatulong sa mga filmmakers na naghirap para makapag-produce sila ng mga films through kasi alam ko years yung ginugol nila para gumawa. So I want to participate lang in supporting the film festival kahit alam ko na medyo ngayon risky siya.
Hindi mo pa-feel pag online, dapat ganito siya talaga sinehan. Lahat naman kami fully vaccinated. Tsaka hindi pa naman yata masyadong matao.
Riza, we are still here at a mall in Mandaluyong, and as you can see, there are some moviegoers are starting to line up in the ticketing booth. But if we're going to compare the crowd estimate and the tickets sold pre-pandemic, it's still far from the usual tradition of the Metro Manila Film Festival. So the festival will run until January 7, 2022. Riza?
Thank you for that update. That's Camille Samonte reporting live from Mandaluyong City. Now, meanwhile, some families are taking advantage of the holidays to bring their children to theme parks. How did their Christmas celebrations go? We'll find out with Laila Panghilinan with the story.
'Tis the season to be jolly, and what could be more fun than bringing the family together at theme parks, such as the Enchanted Kingdom in Laguna. Before one can enjoy the rides, the waiting game begins at the long lines going to the parking lot. One family that had long yearned for the magic of theme parks didn't mind. The Tanggins traveled 12 hours from Bicol.
It's time for enjoyment. Kaya kahit napepending po yung pagpasok namin, kailangan namin tiisin para mag-enjoy.
To avoid the hassle, the EK management encourages guests to book online. Fully vaccinated individuals who will purchase ride-all-you-can tickets can avail of a 199 peso discount. Under Alert Level 2, the theme park, which has a safety seal, is now allowed to operate at 80% venue capacity. Pre-pandemic, the theme park can accommodate as much as 18,000 guests per day. For this year's Christmas, the EK management said they were expecting only 3,000 to 5,000 visitors, but the number of guests ballooned to 9,000. After all, this will be the first Christmas since the pandemic that children are allowed to go outdoors.
Hindi din namin ine-expect kasi syempre with the pandemic and everyone is still, parang nagdadalawang isip to go out of their way. But however, as you can see, with all those happy faces right now,
to avoid the crowd in the park's food court, this family who came all the way from Nueva Ecija opted for a picnic at the parking area.
Inagahan namin kasi in-anticipate na namin na maraming pupunta.
Food stalls were also facing what they called good problems as their supplies kept selling out. The influx of visitors meant they will be required to report for work regularly.
Okay na okay po kasi diretso na po yung pasok namin, magkakatrabaho na po ulit.
Visitors were also treated to a fireworks display.
Teary-eyed kami nung nakita namin yung fireworks. It's really something na parang it was a sign of moving forward, of hope for everyone.
Another fireworks display is scheduled tonight as well as on January 1 and 2. For News 5, Laila Pangilinan, we are One News.
We'll be back with more stories after the break. Keep it here on One News. You're still watching One News Now. I'm Riza Diaz. The death toll due to Typhoon Odette continues to swell more than a week since its onslaught. In the latest tally of the NDR-RMC, total fatalities have now reached 378. Missing people sit at 60, while over 100 are left injured. Now, more than 1 million families or 4 million Filipinos in Visayas and Mindanao have been affected by the typhoon. Damage to infrastructure, meanwhile, is estimated to be at a staggering 16.5 billion pesos. The agricultural sector also lost almost 4 billion pesos. Now, let's take a quick look at today's other top stories. The Philippine International Trading Corporation and 7 other government-owned and controlled corporations have over 13.17 billion pesos in funding that remain unutilized. That is according to the Commission on Audit's 2020 financial report. The COA said the GOCCs have not fully liquidated their funds or returned their balances to source agencies. Oil firms are expected to roll back prices as the Omicron variant threat puts a dent on fuel demand. In its forecast, Unioil says diesel would go down by 60 to 70 centavos per liter, while gasoline would decrease by 20 to 30 centavos this week. And 3 members of K-pop sensation BTS contracted COVID-19. Rappers RM and Suga are asymptomatic. They tested positive for the virus while under home quarantine upon their return to South Korea. Meanwhile, vocalist Jin has a mild fever. He was initially released from quarantine after testing negative, then received a positive result later on. Revisit the biggest stories and top headlines of 2021. Catch One News year-end special, Awit 2021, narrated by John Rasilla later today at 8 p.m. here on One News. Also available on Signal Play. And here's a sneak peek.
The first batch of Sinovac vaccines finally arrived this morning.
The Philippines received 2 million more doses of Sinovac COVID vaccine. The government procured doses arrived in the country Thursday evening.
The organizer of the Maginhawa Community Pantry is appealing to authorities to stop red-tagging volunteers.
Wala po akong link sa Communist Party.
A nation in mourning this Thursday, former President Benigno Noynoy Aquino III joined our The more contagious Delta variant of the coronavirus has spread across the Philippines.
Winaharap na ninyo kami eh. Winaharap na ninyo. Ang dagal ng DOH.
We all want to save lives. For crying out loud. No one in government wants a single high cost. No one.
Nadiskubre po natin inuna ang kumita at makakuha ng komisyon at kickback instead of coming up with the right way to fight the
I am
pandemic.
today announcing my intention to run for the presidency of the Philippines.
Lalaban ako. Lalaban tayo.
Awit 2021, a year-end special, hosted and narrated by John Arcilia. Mapapanood ngayong December 26, alas 8 ng gabi sa One News at 1PH.
Now, for more updates, visit News 5, the Philippine Star, and Business World Online. Visit our website, onenews.ph, for more in-depth analysis. You can also catch One News on Signal Play app. Register for a free account now, www.signalplay.com, and stream One News live anytime, anywhere. I'm Riza Diaz. Mask on, wash hands, and stay safe, Philippines. We are One News.